Yo, what's cooking, people?
Welcome back to Summertime Cooking,
Christmas
Edition. This time we're cooking a German classic, Cinnamon Glazed Almonds.
That's right, and today you're going to need 200 grams of almonds, 200 grams of sugar, with 1 teaspoon of cinnamon in there, and along with 100 milliliters of water.
Let's get cooking.
Let's head to the stove. Boom, here we are at the stove. This is where we're going to be for the rest of our cooking time. Now, when we're cooking at the stove, today's dish is going to be broken down into 3 phases. The first phase, the wet phase. Second phase, dry phase. Third phase, the glaze phase. Alright? But all we care about is wet phase for now, so let's get started. You want a hot pan. We put our water, cinnamon, and sugar in the pan and stir.
Once you see boil bubbles, you know you've hit your temp and you're ready to add the almonds.
Here we go. We got it bubbling a little bit, so I'm going to add the almonds. Boom. And turn down the heat just a little. And keep stirring.
So while you're in the wet phase, good way to know that you're doing it right is to keep an eye on those bubbles. Making sure those bubbles are keeping consistent, they're not jumping out, you're not too hot on the heat, because otherwise you'll end up burning the glaze. But also you want to make sure you're not too cold to make sure your liquid actually evaporates. The goal is to get all of this liquid to evaporate and you'll just be left with essentially a sort of dust on the almonds. We're nearing the end of phase 1. Notice how most of the liquid has evaporated out of this. We are now going to be moving on into the dry phase. So now, as you're finishing up your first phase, the wet phase, you should notice that most of your almonds just look very, very dusty. And so this is all this dried sugar and cinnamon that's coagulating on these almonds. You are now successfully into the dry phase, our second phase of our dish.
Alright, so here we are. Deep into phase 2, the dry phase. But now, it's totally dry. The powder is all good to go. Everything's coated in our wonderful sugar cinnamon coat. So, to go into phase 3, the glaze phase, I'm going to increase heat just a little bit and keep stirring. And hopefully our powder will melt into a nice glaze. Phase 3. We increased the heat a little bit, we kept stirring, and as you can see, our dry powder from phase 2, the dry phase, is now turning into a nice glaze. Keep stirring and the whole pot will end up glazing. Oh my goodness, here we are, deep in phase 3. You gotta check this out. We are glazing. Yeah. We're glazing. This is what it should be looking like. Everything's remelted again. And it's all nice and thick, like a glaze. And this is it, we're done. On to the final step, the done phase. Let's go. Ooh. So you're just gonna take it and dump it out onto your parchment papered pan and let it dry.
Once you're all done, they're laying in their pan, go ahead and wait for them to harden and cool, and then you're ready to break them apart one by one.
But we already did that, so we're gonna dig it in and enjoy. Let's test them out. Mmm, delicious.
Divine.
All right, everyone, Merry Christmas. Get cooking.